Hello and welcome to my playthrough of Elden Ring. Now this episode is gonna be a lot different than everyone else because I already recorded I believe it was somewhere like 9 hours of gameplay. And I didn't get audio for any of it. Well, I got the game audio, but I didn't get my microphone recorded. So I have to edit all of those 9 hours to just put a new track over it. So the voice that's coming now is not actually from the gameplay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just cut out everything that's irrelevant, so to speak. I'll show the first part of this. Then I'll go through the dungeon that's right up here. But I'm gonna cut like when I read items descriptions or use my binoculars or telescope to look at enemies and details. Everything like that I'm just gonna cut out, and probably I'm gonna cut out a lot of just walking around, looking at the map, going from A to B. Because there's not really anything interesting happening. So I'll just cut to me playing the dungeons, or maybe finding bosses, or if there's something interesting happening on the overmap. But most of it I will just cut everything but the important bits. There's no need to watch 9 hours of footage where I'm not doing anything. So this is the first, well, it's not really a dungeon, but it's the first minor dungeon in the Viking Peninsula. So already here we see we have these beast folk enemies, and they're gonna be a big deal in this entire Weeping Peninsula. When I say big deal, I mean they are the story focus of the entire peninsula. As for what level you're supposed to do the Weeping Peninsula, the way I look at it is I test to see how much damage I do to enemies and also what kind of upgrade materials I get. And, as you see in this tunnel, you only get level 1 smithing stones. So Weeping Peninsula is an area that you could probably do all the way from the start. So you head out from starting area, and instead of exploring upwards towards Stormvale, you just go south, go to Argyll Lake, and then down into Weeping Peninsula, and it won't be a massive increase in difficulty. As you can see, they take 3 hits. That's with a +3 weapon. So maybe you would want to at least upgrade your weapon before going here. As you can see, the upgrade materials you get here in the Weeping Peninsula is only up to +3. So it's not a place you are designed to go after. Oh no, I don't even remember the name. So it's not an area that you're supposed to go after you completed all of Rimgrave. It's you can do that, but it's finely balanced for doing at the same time, or even at the beginning. But as you can see, it's not with only a +3 weapon. It's not really that easy. So despite having done all of Rimgrave, I'm not feeling overleveled or anything for the area. I'm just checking the enemy, and as you can see, the lantern, when you open up the telescope, the light source from the lantern disappears. So actually checking out details and stuff like that is not really helpful in dark areas because of it. That's kind of a bad design choice, to have it so that your light source doesn't show up if you use the telescope. No, I got a lot of Sombo well, not a lot, but I got not as many as normal smithing stone, but you get quite a few Sombo smithing stones. But they're used for boss weapons, but they only require one for each level upgrade. So with the normal smithing stone, you need, I believe it's first 2, then 4, then 6. So it's 12 total. So to get it to +3, you need 12 smithing stones to rank 1. For the Somber, you only need 3. You need a 1, a 2, and a 3. So it's they're more rare, but you only need 1, so it's... Now the question is, can you upgrade Somber's weapons as high as normal? Because you'd assume it's +10 is the highest you get for both. But I could upgrade already to level 9, I think, with the normal weapon. In Somber, I only have level 3 at most. Not at the point that I'm recording, but later in my playthrough. So right now in the playthrough, I only have to +1 Somber, I think. I read the item description for the Iron Cleaver. Just testing it out a bit. Obviously it's not upgraded, so it's not going to do a lot of damage to the enemies. The moveset is pretty fun. The R2 is, as you can see, this running charge attack, which seems quite good. Well, it can be good. It can also be quite bad. If you're lining up a boss and you use an charge R2. You have to think about your positioning much more because of well, how far you run with it. But it's quite fun. It's a weapon that I might have used if it was a pure strength playthrough. Then it would be something to consider. Maybe power stancing two of them. Now this dungeon is quite generic. I've been to these tunnels before. I think all of these mining areas are called tunnels. So we had the Limgrave tunnels, this Weeping Peninsula tunnel, I think. And they all have pretty much identical layout. Some minor differences only. And obviously the enemy placement and smithing stone placement, but it's pretty much the same exact thing. And there have been decent variety so far into the game in terms of dungeons, but it's starting to get a bit generic now. This, the boss of this dungeon, Scaly Misbegotten. So looking at him, he looks just like the, well not just like, but very similar to the blacksmith with the round table hold. So it's pretty much confirmed that the blacksmith is Misbegotten. Scaly Misbegotten, to be exact. This boss, he did a lot of damage, and his attacks had very long delays, but it's quite easy, and he appeared to be just a normal enemy. So now I'm continuing my exploration of the Viking Peninsula, and I already found another dungeon, this time a catacomb. Now I didn't explore too much before finding this. It was really just up the hill from the where the tunnel was. Now this is the Tombstone Catacombs, and right at the start I noticed that these tree roots, they have this kind of growth on them. So this is, you know, it looks like feathers or fins actually. It almost looks like fins from like a fish. And they're all over the roots, so I think this is probably the corruption from the Death Rune. And you can see it's all over, on every root. So it's clear that, you know, I was correct earlier in my assessment that the Death Root is spread across the root system of the Earth Tree. And I'm thinking probably the Earth Tree is, well, there are several Earth Trees. You have the minor Earth Tree and you have the great big one. I think it's actually all the same tree. It's the same root system, it's just younger sprouts than the big old one. And that's why the corruption is spread throughout all of them. I didn't really get anything good from that stone key. It's just a, you know, crafting recipe. So not all of them have are worth using. As you can see, there's the statue with the lever behind it. So they are showing you where it is without showing you the way to get it. Still early in the game, so they are still like showing you how the dungeons work. So now every time you're gonna enter one of these catacombs, you know there's gonna be a lever to open the door, and you need to find a way to get to it. Skeletons are still annoying as ever, so having to wait for them to respawn and then attack them again. I'm thinking with a holy weapon, you know, I noticed earlier that you didn't need holy to actually kill them off permanently. Thankfully I noticed that, because otherwise I would still be running around inside the path my altar. But if you kill them with holy weapon, I assume you don't need them a second time. They will just permanently die once they reach this point. So getting a faith enchantment on my weapons with incantations, or if I find a holy weapon, might actually be useful. There's another one of these fire traps, and I can see the entrance, so I'm already suspecting there's an enemy in the plane. So I just run in and attack. There is an enemy, but it's a skeleton and it doesn't respawn actually. this time you have time to, you know, react to the enemy. As opposed to the earlier one where I got attacked the instant I jumped in. Now while the smithing tunnel was, you know, very generic, this I think is the first catacomb where you see, you know, emerging complexity. No, it's not just walk down this hallway. No, you actually have kind of a puzzle. Using the pillar to place yourself on another platform. So while not all of the minor dungeons are that good, I think at least the catacombs are. You know, they add to the complexity of every one. So at the beginning it's just generic small dungeon, but the further you get into the game, the more complex they seem to get. What annoys me is that you can't actually attack the skeletons before they have you know, spawned, so to speak. So I could see them on the ground. Attacking them does nothing. That's kind of a weird choice, I think. If you can see there's an enemy, you should be able to attack him. No, he shouldn't be invulnerable, but just because he hasn't, you know, stood up yet. It's a trap and you notice it, you should be able to, you know, disarm the trap, so to speak. I went back here so I could check out this room, but there's not really much in here. There's you know, a grave flower for the summons. There is these rattling things, which is, you know, really only for multiplayer. And I can't be bothered fighting the skeletons because they give me nothing, so I just leave. You know, I have all my flasks remaining before I even go to the boss, so it's not a difficult dungeon. Didn't use a single one, and I still have almost full HP. Now the cemetery shade, he looks kind of interesting, and, but as you can see, he has very low health. Now he does make up for it in damage, as you will see. So, almost killed me in a single combo. His damage isn't that good, but he has proccess, which is very good. Now as I exit the dungeon, I go straight up to the right, and already there's a new encounter. Well, first it's these ones. I have fought these before, but I don't think I've recorded them, or I've skipped that part. Oh, here's the new encounter. Now looking at it, it's obviously a boss. And it seems to be guarding the Earth Tree, or the minor Earth Tree. I changed to Axe Talisman just because I feel that's usually better choice than the jump attack. I tried to sneak, but it doesn't really work against these guys. attacks are easy to dodge, very slow, a bit delayed, but very slow, and you can see when the attack is coming down. But if he does hit you, he has really high damage. And as you can see, it doesn't take too much to stay. Attack, I can probably just run and not dodge, but I didn't know since I had so jumping over that, I'm not sure if that works or not. I mean, it worked that time, but it looks like it was maybe a bit higher. Keep my health at all times because of how hard it hits. Don't think I will be able to survive. Oh, why didn't I dodge that? Well, I tried, but the recovery animation is so slow that I just can't. These attacks lands before you're able to recover from the previous attack. So even though it looks like you have plenty of time, you don't. And this has a really good damage. Well, it's starting to get good damage. It's going to be fun once I get even more arcade.
Spoken echoes of Queen Marika linger here as well. Shall I share them with you? In Marika's own words, then, after thy death, I will give back what I once claimed, return to the lands between, wage war, and brandish the Elden Ring, grow strong in the face of death. Warriors of my lord, Lord Godfrey.
Now I explored some more and I find this town. It's quite a bit away from the church where I just rested. There you can see there's a strong enemy on horseback. There's also a guy sniping down. Well, when I say strong, he's not that strong. He's actually, I think he's harder to stop on a horse. Then he'll just block and guard counter you. On a horse you can just stun him until he falls off. So, while the horse combat is bad for the player, it's actually bad for the NPCs or enemies as well. Finally get revenge on this guy. Then I noticed it's one of those teleporter traps that I found earlier. I considered just leaving it alone, but I thought, you know, what the hell, let's try it. As you can see, it took me to Elendal, the royal capital. And when I open the map, you can see it's a long way from where I actually opened the chest, which is way down here. So it's basically the entire length of the map that I've discovered so far. It's a really nice place. You can see there's a huge elevator. But I can't actually do anything with it. If I try to pull the lever, there's no pop-up message or anything. There's a corpse of a giant dragon. Now it looks fairly intact. It's quite close to the Erdtree, and you can see there's like a scar on the middle of it. So I thought, you know, maybe the dragon was trying to actually attack the Erdtree. So it might be a coincidence, but that's what I thought at the time. Because it doesn't really look like a claw mark, but it's a scar on the tree. And you can also see that there's a door into the Erdtree. You know, I find a grace so I could teleport there later, but you know, it doesn't seem like there's anything I can do here at the moment. Can't go down the elevator and it's barred off. But there is this. So immediately I just go for the next charge attack and it instantly stuns him. Makes him fall over. So 2 charge autos. But as you can see, the damage is way higher than the other one before. And his damage is it's not quite a one-shot, but it's close. And second time, only 3 hits, and he falls again. I'm pretty sure I can lead him. I sure can stagger him. And again he falls down from one spell. So it's 2 charge R2s the first time, and then 3 times. This time I end up on the wrong side. I almost missed the post. So the entire fight, all I do is charge R2s and Dragon Claw. Just falls down every single time. And then I found Golem's halberd. I tried out the moveset for it a bit, and it's quite good, but the requirements is way too high, so it's not something I'm gonna use. There's also a portal in this area, but it's inactive, so you can't actually do anything. Now I suspect this is actually to a divine tower, because the last portal I took that was guarded by this enemy led to another divine tower. Now I use the teleporter to get back, and after exploring a bit more I found, well, I did find this earlier, but decided to check this out more closely. And as soon as I did, I could see the skulls on the legs. Tried to attacking them, and they disappeared, so I continued attacking. I also thought that this might have something to do with the soul child of Marika, which I learned about that tower just above it. So obviously it's a mausoleum of legs and there's skulls on it. Thankfully, you don't need to do all the spoons. You just need to circle them out, and well, then it falls over. And as you go around it, you can see there's some more into the actual well, mausoleum or crypt or whatever it is. There's a headless corpse there. When you examine it, you can see you can duplicate remembrance. So you can duplicate the remembrance of Godric. Does this mean he's the soulless unwanted child of Marika? I don't know. Now right next to the mausoleum I found this, another Ever jail. However, this is locked with a stone key. But obviously, since it's a boss, I'm gonna use one. It's well worth it. It's usually worth it just for the items. It's especially worth it when it's a boss fight. Well, so this is my third ever jail. And the first took me a lot of time, second wasn't so bad. As you can see, this guy is using frost attacks with quite a lot of aerial effect as well. He's fairly nimble, just like the previous Ever jail with the Bloodhound Knight. He jumps a lot and he moves back a lot. Now this gives me a lot of opportunity to attack. Charges of the frost breath. And he staggers, at least from heavy attacks. Now his frost build-up, now that he's into phase 2, is quite high. And he's also a lot more aggressive. As you can see, I'm already out of flasks and I'm getting hit by pretty much everything he does. Oh, I wasn't out of flask. That was a FT flask actually. And now we inflicted with frostbite. And as you can see, the frostbite actually refreshes once he hits me. Now this is my third attempt. I died a second time as well. I figured I'm gonna cut, you know, most of the fights if I die over and over. This one I just had to cut, you know, one fight. Second try went about the same as the first one. I died fairly early into the second phase. As you can see, in the first phase, he's a lot more passive. He has the blood proc, make him go into phase 2 very late. Gives me opportunity to get the charges of the brainstorm. And he staggers, so he's in phase 2 and he pretty much can't do anything. So this was a good fight. A lot better than first. Then I got this Radagon's Scar Seal, which it increases all my stats by 3, well, all my physical stats by 3, and then but it makes me take increased damage, so I don't use it. But it's probably good if you need it to hit some requirements. As I continue to explore, I found these ruins. Witchbane ruins. As you can see, there's like a big ball of stone heads. It shoots some kind of magic meteor attack that hits all around him. So I figure it's not good to fight this guy on the horse. However, there's poison where I'm standing. Then I get attacked by 4 armed, I don't know what to call it, puppets. As you can see, they have some wild attacks. Thankfully, not too much health. But there's a lot of them, and combined with the big ball shooting magic from poison and so on, quite a different area. I'll keep looking around to see if there is anything else on the exterior of the ruins, but there's not really. There's an enemy here and some items. I decided to go on the horse just to avoid getting poisoned by the swamp, because Torrent seems to be immune to it. Well, he's a spectral steed, so I guess that makes sense. Entering here, I see another sorceress, just like Selen. Only this one is trapped. You can see she got her hands pierced into the wall with crystal.
It will do no good, I swear it. And yet you persist. You frothing degenerates.
I try talking to her again, but all I'm getting is pained cries. As you can see, there's also one of these men that looks like a Gostrick, the gatekeeper, that's in Stormwell Castle, trapped inside cages. So who this is when you look at the map later, you can see the NPC show up, and this NPC shows up as Sorceress Selen. So this is actually Sorceress Selen, the same as I'm already talking to in Limgrave, who is my teacher. So what I make of this is that this girl down in that's trapped down in this Witchbane ruins is actually the real Sellen. And the Sellen that's my teacher that I've already talked to, she is probably an imposter. That's what I'm thinking. I haven't. I tried talking to Sellen, the imposter, or the presumed imposter, but he doesn't have any new dialogue concerning this. I talked to the mage at the Sorcerer's Tops. He doesn't have any information about it either, but he does say that when I first meet him, that he doesn't think that Sellen would ever do the things that they accuse her of. So what I'm thinking is that the real Sellen, which is locked up here, is actually, you know, innocent. She wasn't the one that was exiled. It's the imposter that's actually been exiled. So that's what I'm thinking. And now I begin my journey into the first real dungeon of Weeping Peninsula. Well, it's the only real dungeon, and it's not a complete dungeon like Stormvale, for example. But nevertheless, it's still a dungeon, and it's quite okay actually. It's quite good for a small dungeon, that is. Now, first off, you can see there's a lot of these beast folk misbegotten, and they seem to be worshipping something up on the hill. The fire. Now here you can actually get smithing stone too. So since the end, it's the end of the Weeping Peninsula, they give you better upgrade materials. Oh, here I do something really stupid. I pretty much aggro the entire group. And with these being as mobile as they are, leaping and jumping and even flying to some extent. And there's a big one at the middle of the pack. Not really a good idea. As you can see, the big one with the axe is actually just the boss that I fought earlier. Or I would rather say that the boss I fought earlier is just a normal enemy already. So, second attempt. I'm gonna try not to, aggro the entire group at once. Hopefully that will go a lot better. Now, obviously this takes a long time if you're gonna lure them out to 1-on-1. And he doesn't even aggro on me, he just reacts to the corpse until I get close, and then he attacks me. So this guy is probably too close, but I try either way to get a backstab. Now that does aggro the remaining of the group, but it's only 2 mobs and the boss, so it's not that much of a problem. Well, boss, I call him. 2 mobs and the larger mob. Misbegotten, the big Misbegotten has massive range on his axe, and it's very slow attacks. Just look at how long it takes to actually hit you. So I can never time it correctly. Thankfully the bleed proc kills him often, and I'll finish these. Now this I'm happy to find, a claymore. I wanted to change my weapon for quite some time, and claymore is one of my favorite weapons in the previous games. Now I can't wield it yet because I don't have the dexterity requirements, but already I know I'm gonna use this just because of how good I know the claymore is. Now obviously I'm gonna try out the moveset. Then I'll start this, charge R2, just a thrusting attack, which is amazing. Now it does not help with enemies that have like really, skinny legs, for example. Then it might not be so good with a thrust, but for the most part, it's really good. Now here you can see that the Misbegotten are actually fighting a soldier of Godric. So this Castle Mord, I think it's called, is there's been a rebellion of the Misbegotten that they used as slaves or servants. They have rebelled. This is why they are attacking. And the soldiers of Godric are the soldiers that were stationed at this castle. So the girl we met earlier, Irina, the blind maiden, this is what she was hearing. You know, she couldn't see them, but it's all their misbegotten servants that have attacked. You know, caused a rebellion. Probably from being mistreated. That's what the Iron Cleaver description says, that they are being mistreated. So up here you can see they are, fighting the soldiers of the fort. And it looks like they are massively outnumbering them. Now here you can see he's standing there almost shouting at the corpses that they have strung up on the poles. So they really don't like the soldiers that mistreated them. How did they mistreat them? I don't know. Nothing says that. You know, Irina doesn't talk about it. She doesn't even realize that it's the servants that have rebelled. Now here I find a grace, but I don't jump out down to it because there's no way to get back up, so I continue exploring another direction. As I walk down this road, this is another way that I could get to the grace I saw from above. But as you can see, you can't go back once you've jumped over there. So I want to explore the rest of the area first. You see where I'm looking now is where I came from, so up above at least. The enemy seems to be ignoring me and focusing on the soldiers of Godric. Well, here you see an NPC.
There's a face I've not seen before. I'm Edgar, warden of this castle, as ordained by Lord Godric himself. But you can see how things have turned out. The menials have all rebelled. They gave me good service, or so I thought. But it seems it was all an act. Foul creatures, as it said. And true enough, they're foul inside and out. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but whatever you come here to do, I'm afraid Castle Morn won't hold much longer. Take this, by way of apology. I see. From Arena. Thank you. I mean, you're dead, but I can't leave yet. Even if the castle should fall, as commander, I must remain to ensure the treasured Sword of Morn does not fall into the wrong hands. If you see Irina, do tell her that her father will come for her once he's fulfilled his duty. If you see her father will come for...
So now I considered actually going back to Irina immediately, but of course I need the grace first, so that I could, teleport back without going through the entire castle. But first I thought, maybe I could jump down here and then clear out the downside area without having to respawn all the enemies upstairs. So here we have this pumpkin head, which we've killed quite a few of them so far actually. One of them was a boss. Now they are just normal enemies. And 2 charge R2s and it's staggered, and 1 more and it dies. Now I decided to go back and check on Irina, and this is what I find. Typical of FromSoft NPCs or questlines. It's always end in sadness. And as you can see, it's one of those iron cleavers that the misbegotten beastman is using. So as you can see, it's the exact same weapon. So they have rebelled, and some of them have escaped the castle and found Irina and killed her. So I decide that I'm not going to tell her father until I've actually completed the dungeon, because I'm thinking, okay, well, if I tell him, maybe he will get mad, freak out and leave, and I need to find the sword for him first. Also, I think at least. Now, I don't know if she died because I failed the quest. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I could have saved her. I don't know. But well, I'll never know. Not at least not until the next playthrough. Now I'm down by the boss gate, and I see there's a NPC summoning sign, and it's the Edgard, the Castellan of the castle. So Irina's father. So I could summon him, but I'm not gonna. Now, Leonin Misbegotten. Like you see, I didn't take any damage because I've equipped the flask that ignores one big strike. As you can see, this guy staggers from pretty much anything you do to him. So while his attack pattern is quite difficult, the boss itself is not, because you can just press R1 and then he staggers. So this is really, you just have to play aggressive. Don't let him attack, just keep pressing R1 and he will stagger and die. Very easy. If he had poise, it would be difficult.
For keeping the sword from those fallen creatures. I'm no longer bound by duty. Once I've rescued Irina, I will spend my remaining days with her. Thanks to you, I will be reunited with Irina and devote my remaining days to her. Irina has a gentle nature, though. I only hope it remains intact. Thanks to you, I devote my Irina as I only hope.
Well, obviously, now he's gonna be spawning at this place, so I teleport and try to find him. And of course, it's not a happy ending for him.
How could this be? My daughter deserved better. The fault lies with me. I chose duty over my daughter's safety. And that is how fate has answered. I'll find them. The foul wretch is responsible for this. I'll hunt them down and exterminate every last one of them. Rest assured, Irina, it will be done. I'll find the foul. I'll hunt them. Rest assured.
Now I'm done with the Weeping Peninsula, but hopefully I will find this guy again and help him with his quest to avenge his daughter. I haven't actually found him, in my playthrough so far, but hopefully there's more to this story. As I'm completed the Weeping Peninsula, I head back to this place, Leonia of the Lake. And here I noticed something very interesting. See this, well, that's the Spock, but this girl. As you can see, she looks exactly like Irina, which is, dead. She has the same outfit. She has the blindfold, same hair, same everything.
Hello? Is someone there? My name is Hayata, and I'm journeying in search of the distant light. If I might be so bold as to ask, would you donate any Shabriri grapes in your possession to me? My eyesight has been weak since birth, you see. I can't tell which way I'm supposed to go next, but when I eat one of those grapes, I can feel a distant light in the back of my eyes. It will lead me to my true duty as a finger maiden.
Now here I'm not so sure what I should do, because I do have a grape, but I also found an area earlier in the Weeping Peninsula where everybody was, insane. They had glowing eyes, and even the animals, like the rats, had glowing eyes, so they were infected with something. And then I found flowers around the area that talked about that it was intoxicating. and so I assume that they have been eating those and then they've been intoxicated. And so the Sabriri grapes, which are eyeballs from those insane people that are infected with the flower. So I was not sure if I should give this to her or not, because it doesn't seem like it's a good thing. But in the end I decided, you know, if I don't, I'm not gonna see any more of her questline. I'm pretty sure of it. So I decided to, well, give her exactly what she wanted, and just let fate play out.
Oh, many thanks to you. Now I can feel the distant light once more. You are most kind indeed. May the blessing of the fingers be upon you.
Now I've next episode I'm going to cut even more. So I'm gonna show my exploration of Liurnia and the dungeons and bosses there. However, I won't show as much, so I will cut it even more than I've done before, just to speed up the process, because there's a lot of things going on, and it takes way too long time to edit everything the way I have to do it now. So thanks for watching, and I apologize for the poor quality of this and the next episode. Bye bye.